My approach to this problem is really two or threefold. We may break this video up into a couple because there really is a calculator lesson buried in this. But the idea starts with quite simply the cosine of pi, sine of pi 6, they've got a negative in front of them. What does this all really mean? It means that cosine of pi, or any measured angle for that matter, sine of any measured angle, it creates just a number. And that number is directly tied to the length of a side adjacent or opposite or perhaps even a tangent. So you can look at it from just a graphing standpoint. So I choose to do that, at least for the first one. So where is pi? Well, we're in the unit circle, so we start with 0. I like to move in a positive direction, so I'm going around here to pi radians. Now, pi radians, being in the unit circle, I'm looking for cosine of whatever that is. And we've had in class several times that the x, y values for coordinates of the unit circle is fundamentally the exact same thing as finding cosine of theta, sine of theta. Well, I'm obviously looking for cosine of pi, so what would the x value of that particular thing be? And the x value of that thing is -1. So right here we have, not a pen in our hand, here we go, -1. Now that would be cosine of pi, but it's telling me right here that I am looking for the negative cosine of pi. So I found cosine of pi is -1, and if my cosine of pi is -1, the negative cosine of pi for this part of the equation right here would be a +1. So let's move on to the other part. Looking at the rest of this particular part, or looking at the other part, negative sine pi 6. Well, where is sine of pi 6? If cosine is the x value, then sine is the y value. So let's go in and find out where pi 6 is. Again, I think I'll just stick with radians for the time being. If the 180-degree mark that the semicircle is pi radians, well, that would be full semicircle. Pi 6, I guess I could start right here at pi halves. But the difference between pi halves and pi 6 is that I could take pi halves and divide it into 3 equal pieces. Each one of those would be pi sixths. There's 1 pi 6, 2 pi 6, which would reduce to 1 pi third, 3 pi 6, which would be pi halves, so on and so forth. And I'm looking for the sine of pi 6. So right here at this coordinate, that is going to be some y value. And that y value happens to be 1/2. I know that simply because I've memorized the unit circle after working with it for so many years, but you can derive it on your own. We've been through it several times in class. Go back through your notes. And I've already found what I'm looking for, that the sine of pi sixths is 1/2. But here right there we've got a negative, so I'm looking for the negative sine of pi halves. So I'm just taking the value of pi sixths, which is 1/2, and putting a negative in front of it. Now what happens when you combine these two? What happens when you combine these two equations just underneath it? Here we've got negative cosine of pi plus negative sine pi sixths. That's just taking these values. This is the fundamental equivalent of negative cosine pi, that'd be +1, and we want to add to it, so we're going to add this thing, -1/2, and that is basically 1 minus 1/2, or my answer would simply just be 1/2, and we're done.